Hey guys, welcome to the second gold video. Before I jump into the replays I was talking about in my last video, I'm going to talk about splitting Marines. It's something I intended to wait for Platinum or even Diamond to go over, but I was forced into a unique situation in my last game where I was forced to split my Marines in order to win. This isn't something you need to worry about right away. It's something you can practice if you're already comfortable not getting supply blocked, you're comfortable with your stutter step, and you're comfortable with the build. It's something you can work on, even if you're not against banelings or whatever, just to practice. So that's why I'm going to just cover it early, in case you get forced into one of those situations. It's kind of nasty on those 4-player maps. If you run around the map, you get scouted, your opponent has all the time and information he needs to plan a defense, and you're kind of forced into being super go-su with your micro. So, to start things off, I'm going to have these two groups of units walk towards each other. There's 11 Marines and 7 banelings. You can probably assume what's going to happen. They're going to go splat, and the Marines are all going to get toasted and melted. And the Zerg has 1 baneling left. That's really cost effective for him. Splitting is as easy as it sounds. You're basically grabbing your units and cutting them up. However, there's a smart way to do that, and it's not the panicky kind of flailing around that you see in Platinum and Diamond, even Masters. Most people will have their group of Marines, they'll split them, they'll panic and go in different directions. Yeah, that does work, and it will be a lot better than just leaving your units alone. However, we're going to think about it a little bit more. When our Marines are marching towards the banelings, there's always going to be a few units on the edge. In this case, it'll be this guy. If they were from the bottom, it'll be this guy. If it was the corners, it'll be these guys. Or in the middle, it'll be that guy. What we're going to do is we're going to grab all the Marines except for that one guy, and we're going to just sacrifice him. We're going to leave him go. He's just going to keep marching towards the banelings, or he's just going to stand still if the banelings are coming towards us, and we are in a stationary defensive position. And we're going to pull our large group of Marines back into the corner a little bit, at a little bit of an angle. And while the banelings are jumping on our little sacrifice here, we're going to grab a small portion of our big group here, and I'm going to try and grab 3 to 4 Marines, just a little chunk, and I'm going to pull them away from the group. If I grab, let's just assume I'm able to grab 4 cleanly. As soon as the banelings are done with our first sacrifice, they're going to start running at the closest target. So if we have our big group running away at a steep angle over here, and we have our 4 pulled off into the opposite direction at a little bit closer angle, the banelings are actually going to charge for our little group, and they're going to leave the big group alone, and it's going to give the big group a lot of space to work with. And if we're really, really fast, what we can do is we can take that small group and we can cut it in half again, and while our big group is still down here, our little group of Marines is split up, so that after the first sacrificial target dies, they're going to go after the 4, which is actually 2 groups of 2, and it will pop the 2, and then it'll go after the next 2 before even thinking about the big group. And if we're Marine King Prime, we can grab those 2 units that we split from the 4, and we can split them into 1s. So the banelings smash into the 1 unit, then they end up smashing into another 1 unit, and then they end up smashing into another 1 unit before finally catching up with the 2. And, Marine King would probably be able to split those 2 up as well. It's really hard to do really quickly, and the banelings won't even target our big group in the bottom left here. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to give it a few attempts. I'm not the best at it, I'm only mid-masters, but it will show you just how cost effective you can make your splits if you think about them beforehand and you're just not panicking and running around and spreading Marines out in every direction. So we're going to attack, and then I'm going to grab every Marine except for the front one. I'm going to pull them back at a steep angle, then I'm going to try and grab 4, I'm going to run them up forward, and then I'm going to try and grab that 4 and split it into 2. If I can do that, I'm doing pretty good. And if I'm super good, I will split those 2 into 1s, and we're going to have a really cost-effective kind of fight. It's a really good way to practice this. If you type into the arcade search box in the main screen in the back, you'll be able to find something called the DM unit tester. You can come into this exact same system and try it out for yourself. So we're going to attack. I'm going to grab my group of Marines. Oh, look, I failed. That was still okay, but kind of embarrassing. Alright, So we were left with 8 Marines. That's still really good. I kind of fudged that first advance a little bit, so we're going to see if I can make that a little bit better. We'll see. So we got those 4, 1, and boom. So it's similar to the last time, except one of our Marines is at full health instead of in the red. So that was the most cost-effective way of dealing with those banelings, and it's something to practice. As well, you might find that since you're doing the gold build now, you have Marauders, and just add a couple banelings to make it fair. If you have a composition like this against banelings, you don't even have to think that hard. What we're going to do is we're just going to attack, we're going to grab our Marines, pull them back. And the Marauders will just take all the hits. It's totally fine. If you have banelings smashing on Marauders, you're doing good. You don't even need to worry about them. That said, I'm going to jump into the replays now. I'll also include a little treat at the end of this video. I ran into a troll on the ladder, and we'll be able to see what I did to him. Anyways, I'm going to start with the first replay. Now this is a mid-silver game. This is before I got into gold. It took me around 20 wins in a row to go from silver to gold, which is completely ludicrous. Anyways, I'm going to watch this on ×2 speed, because I'm just going to go over a few pieces of theory here. You can see I'm doing the exact same gold build that you're familiar with. I'm always asking my opponents what league they're in, so I know where I'm at. I was only a few games in at this point, so I'm running fresh. So as you can see, I do my depot on 10. Soon following will be the 12 barracks at the ramp. Our opponent here is doing something similar. His depot, though, looks a little bit late, so we already have a lead. As you can see, he's 1 worker behind me already, and the game has barely even started. His barracks is also late. I think it's just because he's talking. Oh, so he's going gas first. And I'm getting gas at the same time, and I got my barracks down already. So you can tell he's already really messed up. I'm just going to go over a quick mistake this guy's making, just in case you're still playing at this level and you're not following my builds, you're just here to learn a few tips. Always get what you need, not double gas before you got anything going on. As you can see, he's just building up a bunch of gas, he's not spending it. He's not getting his orbitals, so he's going to be behind on money as well. You can kind of see where these players are playing from if you look at them, and you actually look how inefficient their play is versus mine. It's only 4 minutes into the game, and I'm already 3 supply ahead. It's a pretty massive advantage. Anyways, I'm going to go back to my base here. You can see the familiar build. I have my barracks here, stim coming on the tech lab after the 2 Marines. The 2 barracks were put into construction, supply depot on the way, constant production of workers, and of course I'm landing the mules pretty close, reactors on the barracks as soon as they're finished, constant marauder production, and as I said before, you got to make sure that you're not producing Marines here. You got to make sure they're always marauders. My supply depots are still continuous, 1 by 1. I'll probably drop a second one in a row here as soon as these reactors come up and begin Marines. This is just a little bit of a burst of supply and you got to catch up. Marauder production is still continuous, Marine production is going to continue, worker production is going to continue. It's a bunch of things to manage at once. It's going to stress your ability to use hotkeys. And as soon as stim here is finished, I'm going to be moving out with some workers and throwing concussive shells on the end so it starts researching right away. Should be leaving here shortly. Yep, there we go. I pull half a dozen workers and I move across the map to attack. And by the time I get there, my concussive shells should be just about done. And the workers are, of course, faster than the bio, so they'll get ahead by themselves. And I move up the ramp to see what's going on. And we'll be able to see what my opponent does here. I'm going to slow things down a little bit. So I stim up the ramp because I want to bust everything down. He doesn't have an expansion, so he's got to have something. And he's got Thors. This is a really, really strange and, to be honest, bad thing to do. But it's going to work here for him because I'm doing a technically unviable build as well. So what he's going to do is he's going to pull his workers here and he's going to mass repair his Thor. And I don't have enough DPS to bring it down because he's got so much money banked because his macro is so poor. He's just going to be able to auto repair that Thor. And the Thor will slowly pick away at my units and destroy everything. So we're going to see some of the decisions I make and how I'm able to win the game despite losing my army. As you can see, I begin by targeting down the Thor, but it doesn't look like I'm going to have enough damage. So what I do is I switch to targeting down the workers. Instead of just trying my best to gut his army and kill the Thor, I'm going after the workers. Now, a lot of people in this situation would just click on the Thor and just hope to God it works. It's not smart to do this, because if the Thor, by chance, manages to slaughter your army and you just don't have enough DPS to take it down, all of your opponent's workers are still alive, and you lost some with the attack. That will give him an economical lead, as well as his technical lead, because you can see he's got some tech facilities going on here. So in order to bring the game back down to even and start profiting, I know I have to take out his workers. If I do that, because I've been constantly producing workers, supply, and army units, I know that in my second, third, or fourth wave, I should be able to kill him off if I get enough workers killed here. Because I know I'm not going to be able to take that Thor, and retreating isn't very smart, because I'll end up losing a bunch of units and I won't do any damage, and I'll be forced into the same situation I just described. I start targeting down the SCVs here. And you can see it's moderately effective. I thin down his worker count. If you look at the units tab in the top left, you can see I've got 10 more than he does, even though I attack with a bunch. And the divide is growing. And I kind of lose control as I go back to that, but that's okay. So I drop a couple more workers, and you can see this guy's so stressed, he's not making workers, he's not dropping mules, and he isn't able to produce units because he wasn't able to make supply depots. This is giving me a further lead, because I'm producing workers, he isn't. I'm dropping mules, he isn't. I'm producing I'm producing units, he isn't. So you'll see over the next couple volleys of units, I'm still able to overpower him despite his rather heavy technical defense here. And he's going to try some nifty kind of Thor drop. Oh man, I wonder if that actually works in this league. I guess it would, otherwise he wouldn't be doing it. So you can see he's really panicky. He's going to try and go all in here, doing a worker drop with this Thor and trying to push his success a little further than it deserves. And all this time I'm just gaining a steady advantage because he's still not building anything. And I can see that, so I go right for the medevac there. I let the Thors target the I let the Marauders target the Thor for the bonus damage, and I use the Marines to clean up the medevac, so I'm not thinking about them. It would have been smarter for me to just blow up the workers in the bottom, but I didn't. I wasn't thinking. So he manages to push me back again, so I'm just going to wait for some reinforcements to come in. I'm going to go back up to normal game speed. I know the game's in the bag at this point, that's just being dragged out because I have to get just enough DPS to blow through that. And I just try and pick off a few more workers here so I can take it out in the next advance. You can see there's only a few SCVs left, so it won't be hard to build up the damage necessary to blow it up. You can see my macro is slipping as well. The thing is, if you continually produce workers, your 3 barracks aren't quite enough production to spend all your money. It's not something we're going to work on fixing now, but if you're ever in a really strange situation like this, you could of course pop back home, drop a couple more barracks, add them to your hotkey, and produce more Marines. It's a smart thing to do. Of course, focus on the things that are most important first, which is your attack. This is only if you're really comfortable with it already. You can see he's waiting there. He's not dropping his mules. He's finally resumed worker production. And as you can see here, this is going to end the game. I'm just going to run in, burst down the Thor. Game's over at this point because I didn't build anything. I'm just going to exit this replay now. It's not worth finishing off. You can see the decision making I used to combat that really strange kind of defense. This other game I had here, my opponent was Protoss and he went Dark Templars. This is something, it's one of those hard counters that I was talking about earlier, that virtually no matter what you do, it's just going to end the game because it counters what you're doing. Because at this point in the game, we're not trying to gather intelligence, we're not trying to scout, we're not doing a lot of things, we're not producing ravens, we're not going into tech or anything. So ordinarily it'd create quite a nasty situation. I'm going to show you how I was able to come out of that. And I always make the assumption that when I'm attacking into a Protoss player, because I'm attacking so late with this gas and bio build, I'm attacking between 7 and 8 minutes. I know a Protoss player can get Dark Templars out in that time. So what I do, even subconsciously a little, is I save up enough money or energy for a scan when I attack. And you might have seen this in the past few videos, because I always bounce back to my base and do either a mule drop or a supply drop or something whenever I know for sure that that's not what my opponent is doing. And it's just something I've learned over getting killed many times. But you'll see this Protoss player is a little bit more cunning than that, and he manages to come in and murder my entire base. I'm just going to speed this game up some more. You're already familiar with the build, I'm not going to go over it again. It's completely normal. He's doing his own thing over here. His fast 2 gases. I didn't scare anything. Just leave that alone. He's getting forged. It's quite a bad and inefficient version of a Dark Templar mesh. I'm gonna take my screen off that so Protoss players don't get a bad idea. Very terrible way to build. I'm just gonna look at this clean bio rush over here. You can see the reactors starting to come up. Just gonna speed it up again. Everything's completely normal. Constant worker production, supply production, military production, stim packs on the way. Concussive shells will be added as soon as it's almost done here, and that will also be my cue to leave. As soon as it's down. Any second, there's concussive shells. I've got all my army units, I got some workers, and I begin to attack. You can see here, if you look at my orbital energy, I'm saving up for enough for 1 scan. So I'm advancing across the map, and he just runs through my units. It's okay, he's going to go over and kill my base. I didn't see them when I was walking across the map. If I was pro, I would. I'd be able to react. But I didn't. So I'm just going to go over here. At this point, I see the blurs, I see the damage, I know he's going Dark Templar. And I know I can't escape from him, and I know I have a scan left. What a lot of people are going to do in this situation is they're going to say, oh, fuck, Dark Templars. They're going to drop their scan, they're going to kill the Dark Templars, and then they're going to work on the Protoss base. Well, what's going to happen behind that is he's going to have enough time to get another warp in and get some more Dark Templars down after your scan. So what you're going to do is you're going to make him think, you're going to make him feel really greedy with his attack, and you're going to make him think you don't have any scans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge in, find his Dark Shrine, blow his Dark Shrine up, and then throw a scan down to kill his Dark Templars. And then I know he won't be able to field anymore. I underestimated this guy because I didn't see the ones that ran over into my base. So he's almost there. He's running into my base now, and he's going to come in and clean all this stuff up. And we're going to see how that trades out. Because his Dark Templars won't be able to make it back to his base in time in order to save it. He'll have another scan by then. So his only option here is to base trade with his Dark Templars. And you'll see it doesn't really work because he can't produce anti-air units. And I'm able to save my orbital command because it flies. So you can see I take out the Dark Shrine, I drop the scan, take care of the Dark Templars, and then work down the static defense here, and then I go for the probes. It's quite a good defense by him, considering his build is so efficient. It's fucked up 5-gate forge opening. Actually felt kind of bad for being owned to that degree, but I was overconfident. Definite character weakness. Dark Templars do work in the base here. I fly the orbital away because I know I have enough army units to kill what he has left. So I fly that away and land it in a safe spot so I have a scan ready. And here I'm just target firing down the stalkers. Might not look like I have very much, but you gotta remember, because I was producing workers earlier, my production facilities were still constantly producing while he was attacking all the shit down here, and I still have that steady stream of reinforcements. So I definitely have enough workers. I definitely have enough units to handle anything. If he was a really, really smart player, which he wasn't obviously through what you're seeing, he would have had one of his Dark Templars follow my orbital and sit underneath it so it couldn't land, and then eventually work down my units. But he didn't think that far ahead. So if you're a Protoss player and you're ever in that situation, don't let that orbital land. You have the power in a base trade situation like that when your Terran opponent goes by. You can see here it's just a matter of time before he dies. And he ends up GGing before his Dark Templars come back, so there's nothing Nothing interesting left in that replay. There's one last guy I wanted to show you. He was a rude troll to me, so I used, I believe, a diamond level build to kill him. And it's just really fun watching trolls squirm and die to what seems to be basic shit. I'm gonna be able to see what goes on here. He's the Zerg in the top right at Daybreak. I'm the blue Terran in the bottom left. I start off the game normal. And he's already laughing at my name, whatever. It is kind of funny. See, I'm polite. Nice and polite. I like these guys. And then he spells your realm. That's so... yeah, those types of people are unforgivable. And he continues trolling. Just like a little kid. I hate it when I'm really nice and ask them their league and then they say stupid things like Wood League or Plastic League. It's really not that creative. Comes in and scouts. Whatever. At this point I drop a late gas. It was a little bit of a mistake on my part, but it's not going to matter. I didn't decide to do that build until just now. What I started doing is because it was taking so many games to get me to gold, I cheesed every game with the 2 or 3 racks, kind of all in, and killed them in 5 minutes. And this time I decided to really rape this guy because he was so rude. I mean, who spells your room? God. Oh well, you'll be able to see some the neat things that are coming your way. So what I did here is I did a 13 gas like normal, even though I got it really late at the end of 13. Should have got it a little earlier. I made a couple Marines, and I made a reactor here. I was advising them to go play LOL, stupid kids. I go right from the reactor barracks here into a factory, just producing Hellions. I'm also building depots around my base, something we'll go over later. It just prevents scouting when your opponents actually start caring about what you're doing. You probably won't see any of that until Platinum. And even then, the Platinums are pretty bad at it. In Diamond, they actually start getting really good, so we'll go over that then. You can see this guy, he's thinking about it. He pops in here, he sees, oh, factory starport. So he thinks he's going to get blasted by Hellions and Banshees. He's right, but his timing is way off, so he doesn't have spines down. And he throws down his evolution chambers as he sees that starport. So I did underestimate him a little bit. But as you can see, these low-level players really can't handle Hellions or any kind of demanding micro situation. So I'm just chasing the drone line with 2 Hellions. I'm going to end up roasting a lot of them. This guy's injured, so I just send him home free. He doesn't even bother stopping. And this one Hellion just chases down these drones. Little does he know I'm actually gearing up for a really powerful ALLIN. After losing this many workers, it's just not recoverable at all. You can see he's already lost 16 workers to 2 Hellions. Absolutely terrible. And then I just realized I had my sound off. Sorry guys, you're gonna have to deal with the boredom for now. And at around 7:30 I pull all my workers and attack with some Marines, Hellions, and Banshees, and he gets absolutely demolished. I'm just gonna speed this up so you can watch him die. It's beautiful. It's like an abortion just in a video game. Pop goes if he has hope he dies. He's got nothing up here. I'm just gonna get out of the replay now because the rest is just him being ass. As you can see, all those trolls belong in League of Legends. Thanks for watching this exhaustive gold video. I'm actually gonna make a 3rd one and go over some more ladder games, some live ladder games. I'll see you there.